Have you ever noticed that a freshwater fish, like a tilapia, will instantly perish if dropped onto a dry savanna? That happens because every living thing is bound to a strict environmental contract. To understand how those rules work, we have to build an ecosystem from the ground up. The absolute baseline level is a single living entity, an organism. When we scale up to look at a group of those exact same organisms interacting in a specific area, we call it a population. But a savanna is rarely home to just one species. When multiple different populations live and interact in the same space, they form a biological community. That community still needs fuel and structure to survive. When we factor in the physical, non-living conditions that govern that space, like temperature, rainfall, and soil pH, we reach the final layer, the ecosystem. An ecosystem is a rigid, rule-based intersection where living communities are controlled by non-living forces. Within these boundaries, species face intense pressure. While two species can easily share the same physical address, their habitat, trying to share the same profession, or niche, leads to fatal competition. Take this wetland environment. The crested crane operates as a shallow water feeder. Its specific niche involves hunting insects and gathering seeds along the muddy banks. Operating right next to it in the exact same habitat is the kingfisher, but its niche is entirely different. It dives to catch small fish in the deeper water. Because they divide the labor and the resources, both species survive. This resource partitioning keeps the ecosystem stable and prevents species from wiping each other out over a single food supply. But even with perfect resource partitioning, population growth is held in check by limiting abiotic factors. For agricultural crops like coffee, nitrogen in the soil and total rainfall dictate exactly how well the plant will thrive. Let us test this logic. Look closely at this dense forest floor. Based on the physical environment, what is the primary limiting factor here, and how have these plants adapted to survive it? The thick canopy above blocks out almost everything. The primary abiotic limiting factor is low sunlight, which forces the plants below to develop large, broad, dark green leaves to capture whatever light filters through. Organisms do not choose where they live. Their physical traits are shaped directly by the strict environmental filters around them. To see how deeply these biotic and abiotic factors are linked, we can observe the Lake Victoria ecosystem. The trouble here starts with a human-caused abiotic stressor, nutrient runoff from agricultural fertilizers pouring into the water. The immediate consequence is biotic. The excess nutrients trigger a massive, unnatural bloom of surface-level plant life, specifically the invasive water hyacinth. This cross-section shows exactly what happens next. Because the thick hyacinth mat blocks the incoming sunlight, underwater photosynthesis stops entirely. As a result, this gauge tracking dissolved oxygen drops rapidly into the red as native underwater plants wither and die. With dissolved oxygen gone, the ecosystem experiences a fatal biotic outcome. Massive predator populations, like the Nile perch, suffocate and die off. These mechanics follow reliable rules. An ecosystem is always the sum of biotic life and abiotic forces. An organism's habitat is its address, while its niche is its profession, and energy flows through this system with massive losses at every step. Because every single factor is linked, it is completely impossible to alter just one variable in an ecosystem. Pulling one thread triggers a cascade that forces the entire system to react.